Welcome to About Mansfield, your audio newspaper. I'm Steve Casillo with the September 13th, 2023, 189th edition, always broadcasting from the Cellmark Studios. Flying solo today as Colleen Daniel is on assignment. We're also here with the About Mansfield news team. Coming up, it's Mansfield news, sports, and conversation. And a little later in the episode, you will have a chance to win a $25 gift card to a Mansfield restaurant of your choice with our Mansfield Trivia Question, courtesy of Joe Jenkins Insurance. Let's take a look at the stories we're covering this week. The recycling cart exchange has begun in Mansfield. Downtown parking and the FLUP Report. We'll cover it all in a moment with the mayor. Mansfield ISD is in need of volunteers for a couple of district committees. Timberview Choir invited to sing at Carnegie Hall. Hawaiian Falls hosts one last summer hurrah, this time for the dogs. And in sports, we will check both the win and the loss columns for week 3 of high school football. And in the talk segment, we'll talk about scouting with scout leader Joe Jenkins. We are Mansfield's only source for news, talk, and information. This is About Mansfield.
No matter your familiarity with buying or selling real estate, having an experienced, trusted advisor on speed dial is priceless. The Roger and Beth team of Century 21 Judge Fight is here to be that resource for you. Whether you're buying right here in Mansfield or your dreams are taking you elsewhere, we are ready to help you with turning that vision into a reality. To learn more, visit our website at homesinmansfield.com. That's homesinmansfield.com.
Are you ready to create unforgettable memories? Picture this: an enchanting event venue nestled amidst breathtaking landscapes with panoramic views right here in Mansfield. The Grandview Event Center is the perfect setting to bring your vision to life. From intimate gatherings to large-scale extravaganzas, the Grandview has flexible spaces to accommodate any occasion, be it a graduation or school function, art exhibition, or birthday or anniversary party. Book your next unforgettable experience at thegrandviewmansfield.com. That's thegrandviewmansfield.com. The Grandview Event Center, where memories are made and dreams become reality. Book your event today.
Hi, I'm Brian McFadden, the Executive Director for Mansfield Mission Center, and you're listening to About Mansfield.
This portion of the news is brought to you by the Grandview Event Center. Welcome back to About Mansfield. The recycling transition has begun in Mansfield as Republic Services has started picking up their green recycling carts, while the new provider, Frontier Waste Solutions, has begun distributing their blue carts. Frontier Waste Corporate Director Sean Aris explains how to get your green Republic cart ready to be turned in.
So it's important for everybody to know that once your Republic cart is serviced after Monday the 11th, you want to leave that cart at the curb empty so that the group removing carts can retrieve those. And from that point forward, you will utilize the blue Frontier Waste recycling cart.
It may take a week or two before Republic is able to pick up all of the green carts. Frontier, the new provider, has begun delivering new blue recycling carts around town. Residents can begin using their blue cart once it's delivered. There will be no changes into what is currently recyclable. You can continue to place paper, cardboard, plastic, aluminum, and glass in your cart. The Mansfield City Council held a regularly scheduled meeting on Monday evening. The following opinions of those of Michael Evans may not necessarily reflect those of the Mansfield City Council. We call this a moment with the mayor, as we do every other Tuesday morning. Michael Evans, welcome back to About Mansfield.
Good morning, sir. It's good to be here, always.
You started Monday at 3 o'clock with a work session, and tell me about the FLUP Report.
Yes, the FLUP Report. That's the Future Land Use Plan. And we hope to present this to the public by December. This is a crucial piece of the city's comprehensive plan that will help to guide Mansfield's development and growth for the next 20 years. And we're aiming to adopt the plan this December. This is important. It is important that we have input from the public. So I'm asking people to be on the lookout for announcements that will be inviting them to City Hall and places around town where they can give their input for what we look like in the years to come.
Next up on the agenda, having to do with neighborhoods.
Yes, we also had a discussion regarding proposed neighborhood design standards, and we talked about this as a council, and we allowed people to bring us their ideas. Again, it is important that Mansfield be that place that keeps that hometown feel, and also aesthetically, it is a pleasing place to visit. So we think that's important. And again, we ask the public to lean in and to give us their ideas regarding this. They can just go to the website, mansfieldtexas.gov, and they can participate.
Consent agenda had 10 items.
The council approved these 10 items, but here's the big one, where we authorized the use of the construction manager at risk delivery method for the expansion of our service center and for our animal shelter. We're going to have a bigger, better animal shelter here in Mansfield, and we know that animal lovers are going to love it.
We want the best animal shelter.
We want the best.
Part of that meeting last night was talking about downtown parking.
Yeah, it was. We actually tabled a public hearing and first and final reading of an ordinance amending the special purpose district regulations and creating a new section of the Toll Road 360 Farm-Based Development District. All that means is, as we develop along Highway 360, the city wants to make sure that the council, and of course we represent the people of our great city, that we have more control over what those new buildings will look like, the new entertainment district, what that will look like, as opposed to the developers having the final word. And in regard to the parking, we're always attempting to expand parking downtown. We just want to make sure that the folks are getting the better deal.
Sure. You have some good news about the budget.
I do have some good news about the budget, and that is that we were able to pass the budget. On last night, we voted to approve a $355,289,693 budget. Now, what that did was it added an additional $3.2 million to our street maintenance and construction. So primarily the infrastructure. We put more dollars into maintaining our streets and attempting to get ahead of the future growth. Now, this is a 17% increase over the current budget, which, just to remind folks, we added about a 50% increase the year prior, so
right.
in 23. So we are definitely listening to the public as it concerns what they deem as most important to them, and taxes. That's important too. So in regard to that, we approved a rate reduction to 0.659 cents per $100 assessed valuation on all taxable property for Mansfield. And what this also does is, let me remind people that along with this 2-cent reduction, we also included a 2% increase in the homestead exemption, which brings that to 14%. So I am happy to say that we continue this trend of lowering taxes, and we continue this trend of raising the homestead exemption with the hopes of reaching the ceiling of 20%. So
right.
that is our goal. Now,
new business, you got into an MEDC agreement?
Yes, we do. There's an agreement now between the MEDC, which is the Mansfield Economic Development Corporation, MR Development Corporation, and Carlton Development, to where that team will be working together. And also, moving on, we under new business, we closed the meeting by presenting new board and commission appointments, and it was a whole lot of them, but we were able to get that done. And then to please allow me to make mention of the fact that we observed a moment of silence for the 3,000 people who were killed in the Twin Towers, as well as the over 400 police and fire who lost their lives in attempting to save lives. We don't ever want to forget that day.
Thank you for the moment of silence. I also noticed that the transition in recycling, it has started in Mansfield, and the green Republic carts are starting to be picked up, and the blue Frontier carts are starting to be distributed. And
that is happening, and for the most part, so far so good. As a matter of fact, so funny that you mentioned that. You know, my wife asked me, well, when do we get rid of our green cans? I said, honey, we'll just make sure we put those out on the days when we would have our normal pickup. So that's what that looks like right now. And I'm asking people in that regard to also go to MansfieldTexas.gov, and they will get a point-by-point, blow-by-blow description as to what to do there. But, with fingers crossed, we're hoping that we have a smooth transition. We did it because, again, Republic was going up on the rates almost double, and that was just something that we just could not stomach as a council. And we didn't think that our residents would like that either.
Again, saving the taxpayers' money.
Doing our very best to make that happen.
Michael Evans, go forth and have a great day. Thanks for being on About Mansfield.
I will go forth and prosper. Thank you very much, sir, and you have a great one.
Mansfield ISD is seeking volunteers for the School Health Advisory Council for the 23-24 school year to provide advice on coordinated school health programming and its impact on student health and learning for the entire school district. The committee will be comprised of staff, parents, and community members from across the district. Interested applicants should be prepared to attend 4 meetings throughout the school year, and if you are interested in becoming a member of this committee, you will have until Wednesday, September 20th at 5 p.m. to fill out their sign-up form. We have the form and the charter on our website, aboutmansfield.com. Just click on the links tab. Meanwhile, if the Health Advisory Council isn't your thing, perhaps the Long Range Facilities Planning Committee is, as Mansfield ISD is also seeking volunteers for that committee. Committee members help utilize the district's long-range plans, bond capacity, facility studies, and other relevant information to develop a plan of action. The committee will be comprised of 14 board-recommended members, 10 superintendent recommended members, and randomly selected members from across the 5 comprehensive high school attendance zones. Interested applicants should be prepared to attend at least 5 meetings between October and January. And if you are interested in becoming a member of this committee, you have until September 25th at 5 p.m. to submit a completed sign-up form. We have that form and the committee charter on our website, aboutmansfield.com. Again, click on the links tab. Well, we know the old joke, how do you get to Carnegie Hall? Practice, practice, practice. And that's exactly what the Timberview Varsity Chorale has done to earn them a spot on that prestigious stage in New York City in March 2024. Despite the room full of trophies that adorn the choir room in Timberview, the group has never performed out of state. This is largely due to Timberview being a Tier 1 school and doesn't readily have the resources for field trips to, say, the Big Apple. Choir director Jason Forte was hired by the district just last year, and one of the first items on his list was to apply at Carnegie Hall. It took only a week to receive a reply. The chorale would be performing Mozart's Requiem at Carnegie Hall on March 17th, 2024. As the dog days of summer are starting to wind down, Hawaiian Falls Water Park is hosting an end-of-summer Lucky Luau Pup Pool Party for just $20 or $10 for season pass holders. You and up to 2 canine companions can enjoy the wave pool, Turtle Cove, and for small dogs, the Island. It all happens on Saturday, September 23rd from noon to 3. Proceeds from the event will benefit the Mansfield Animal Care and Control Lucky Fund, which helps provide medical care for stray pets. Dogs attending the Lucky Luau must be spayed or neutered and have a valid city pet license issued by Mansfield Animal Control. Participants must complete the attendee agreement and responsibility waiver and register online prior to admittance to the water park. Registration cutoff is Thursday, September 21st at 5 p.m. And again, head on over to our website, aboutmansfield.com. Just click on the links tab for the Lucky Luau registration. In sports, Mansfield High and Timberview continue their undefeated ways. Your Mansfield Tigers defeated South Grand Prairie 49-29. Senior running back James Johnson carried the ball 13 times for 155 yards, including a 70-yard sprint to the end zone, adding fuel fuel to the fire, senior running backs Walter Moulton and Marquise Hubbard each scored a pair of touchdowns. Timberview downed White 27-7, taking the Wolves as well as the Mansfield Tigers to 3-0 for the season. Elsewhere, Legacy topped Wilson in their first win of the season, 35-30. Running backs Caden Johnson and Jaden Manning posted a couple of touchdowns each. Manning, a junior, carried the ball 10 times for an impressive 206 yards, including a 69-yarder. Both Summit and Lakeridge suffered losses in front of homecoming crowds. Taking a look at the highs and lows around the state this past week, Jayton traveled an hour to rout Ira, 84-34. By the way, the combined population of Jayton and Ira is just over 700 people. Houston Scarborough nipped Houston Kip Northeast 2-0. And the biggest goose egg in the state, Sunray, toppled Dimmitt 80-0. Back here locally, Thursday night games include Summit at Seguin and Timberview versus Turner on senior night at Newsom Stadium. Friday night lights include Lakeridge and Duncanville at R.L. Anderson, and your Mansfield Tigers take on Legacy at Newsom. All games start at 7 p.m. If you have a comment about the show, the news or whatever's on your mind locally, the good, the bad, the ugly, what's on your mind, you can reach us by voicemail at 817-435-2938. Again, that's 817-435-2938. Leave a voicemail, and your voice may wind up right here on the podcast. This coming Saturday, September 16th, is National Guacamole Day, a day that recognizes that the icky, gooey green stuff that you hated as a kid is actually pretty good. Guacamole, of course, is a Mexican side dish, but due to its health benefits and great flavor, guacamole has grown in popularity throughout the world, especially in the United States and Canada. Nowadays, it's not uncommon to find guac on salads, as a sandwich spread, and even on pizza. So this coming Saturday, some options. Host a guacamole tasting party. Make guacamole-inspired dishes. Organize a guacamole cook-off. Visit your local Mexican restaurant. Or, just throw an avocado party. In any event, I now love guacamole and would be honored to accept your dinner date invitation. Coming up after the break, we turn the page to the features section.
Ready, get set, go Mansfield. It's good for your heart. I'm Angel Biasatti, and we are offering you a way to get your heart beating. We'll talk about it next. And Methodist Mansfield News to Know.
Last week, we learned all about the buyer consultation. I'm Beth Steinke. Join me today as I walk you through the seller consultation on the Mansfield Real Estate Report.
In this week's Cocktail of the Week, I'll be talking about a cocktail that celebrates summertime in the South.
We are Mansfield's only source for news, talk, and information. I'm Steve Casillo, and this is About Mansfield. This portion of the news was brought to you by the Grandview Event Center.
The housing market is evolving as interest rates rise to meet inflation. Speculation abounds as to what the future may hold. Do you have a trusted advisor? The Roger and Beth team at Century 21 Judge Fight should be your first call in all matters concerning real estate and the market. We specialize in residential real estate for both buyers and sellers. With industry partners across North America, our resources and expertise can turn the home you've been envisioning into a reality. Visit our website at homesinmansfield.com to learn more. That's homesinmansfield.com.
I'm Philip Washington, Chief Investment Officer of Stonehill Wealth Management and host of the Wealth Building Made Simple podcast. First book I read in college was Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and it changed my life. And since then, I've read tons and tons of books on money. And what I've done is taken those lessons, simplified them, and I talk about those lessons on my podcast, Wealth Building Made Simple. So come hang out with us. We're on every major platform, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and on YouTube. Wealth Building Made Simple.
Congratulations to Coy Miller, who was the first person to correctly answer last week's Mansfield Trivia Question. In what year was Mansfield ISD Superintendent Dr. Kimberly Cantu hired? According to the MISD website, Dr. Cantu was first hired by MISD back in 1993. When we come back, this week's Trivia Question. This is About Mansfield.
At Methodist Mansfield Medical Center, we've been caring for our home team for over 15 years. Today, you'll find award-winning physicians on the medical staff, advanced neurosurgery, a Level 3 trauma center, critical care for newborns, and comprehensive orthopedic care. Methodist Mansfield, delivering the care our friends, neighbors, and home team depend on. That's community, and why so many people trust Methodist.
Hey, it's Steve Casillo, and are you ready to make your voice heard? Want to bring out your ideas to life through captivating conversations and engaging visuals? Look no further than Podcast Mansfield Recording Studio, your one-stop destination for award-winning audio and video podcast recording. Equipped with cutting-edge microphones, crystal clear audio recording, and high-definition cameras, we're here to turn your ideas into engrossing content. But it's not just about the equipment. We're dedicated to bringing out the best in your content. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, we're here to elevate your podcasting game. We'll even help you with intro music, transitions, voiceover, and that professional polish that sets your podcast apart. So whether you're into interviews, storytelling, or simply sharing your expertise, Podcast Mansfield can help bring your podcasting dreams to life. Visit podcastmansfield.com. Podcast Mansfield, where creating your podcast masterpiece has never been easier.
Hi, this is Joe Jenkins with Joe Jenkins Farmers Insurance, specializing in auto, home, commercial, and life insurance. I was born and raised here in Mansfield, Texas. We're active in the community, and Mansfield's a town we really care about. Our office has over 30 years' experience in the insurance industry, and we're passionate about what we do and about customer service. For a free quote, please visit our website at joejenkinsinsurance.com or give us a call at 817-472-6058. Once again, that website is joejenkinsinsurance.com.
It is time right now, this very second, right here, right now. It's time for the highly coveted, wildly popular About Mansfield Trivia Question. If you are the first person to email the correct answer to trivia at aboutmansfield.com, you will receive a $25 gift card to a Mansfield restaurant of your choice, brought to you by Joe Jenkins Insurance. Whether you're looking for homeowners, auto, commercial, or any other type of insurance, Joe has helped Mansfield area residents understand the insurance coverage that best fit their needs since 2010. You can find him on the internet at joejenkinsinsurance.com. Let's get to this week's question. Mansfield has been called a lot of names over the years, but only one name has been officially recognized by the state of Texas. Today's trivia question is, when was Mansfield named the official pickle capital of Texas? Again, in what year was Mansfield first named the official pickle capital of Texas? Good luck. Thank you, Joe Jenkins Insurance, for the gift card.
Hi, I'm Olympian athlete Jasmine Moore, and you're listening to About Mansfield.
Welcome back to About Mansfield, your audio newspaper. Let's open up the features section. Angel Biasatti has news on an upcoming event that's good for your heart. In today's Methodist Mansfield News to Know.
Anyone can be at risk for heart disease. It's the number one killer of both men and women in the United States. But it's also one of the diseases we can actually help prevent. One of the easiest things you can do is to get moving. 30 minutes of walking a day can improve your health by reducing your risk for heart disease and improve your blood pressure. It's one small step everyone can do. So join me and let's step out for heart health at the 9th Annual Methodist Mansfield Run with Heart. Lace up your sneakers for the USTAF chip-timed half marathon, 5K, or 1 mile fun run or walk. The races kick off at 7:30 a.m. on Saturday, November 4th at the hospital. All proceeds benefit cardiology services at Methodist Mansfield. To register, go to MethodistMansfieldRunWithHeart.org. The event is more than just a fun run. It's a celebration of community health and a commitment to innovation. It reflects our engagement with the local community and our dedication to treating patients like family. Putting our hearts alongside friends and neighbors is community. Pledge yourself to better heart health. A little physical exercise can go a long way in life. It increases oxygen and blood flow to the muscles, reduces tension and stress. It helps to lower blood pressure, reduce stress, build strong bones, and increase your heart and lung capacity. That's Methodist Mansfield News to Know. I'm Angel Biasatti, reporting for the About Mansfield podcast.
Realtor Beth Steinke shares details on the initial home sellers consultation in the Mansfield Real Estate Market update. Beth?
There are two types of sellers, those that know they are moving and those that think they might like to move. Today, I'm going to focus on the seller consultation, the initial conversation we have with our potential sellers. Let's start with that first type of seller, those that know they are moving. These are folks that reach out because they have made the decision to move. They have a job transfer or a family need to relocate, or they need to right-size their home and need a new house. Our conversations with these families are going to be centered around their timelines, the condition of the home they have to sell, and the upgrades that they've made while they've owned the property. We'll also focus a bit on where they are going and how we can help them on that end as well. We are so lucky to be part of a nationwide network of outstanding realtors that allows us to make introductions to smooth worries no matter where they are headed. For sellers that are fully motivated and committed to making a move, we focus on logistics and start putting a plan together right away. That would start with an in-home visit, listing paperwork, and a fully baked out timeline and marketing plan. For the second type of seller, the undecided but hopeful, I will typically ask more questions in an effort to unearth motivations surrounding the need for a move. And sometimes I'll become an active participant in the development of the plan to bring the idea from concept to completion. The undecided seller will generally have a lot of questions as they move towards a decision, and my job is to help them make the best decision possible. The questions will range from current market conditions for selling, but usually also for buying, possible timeline concerns as well. They will ask about what projects in the house they need to prioritize. If they are staying local, we will talk about what the house needs to have in order to make the move make sense. For the undecided seller, we might also explore other options that they may not have even yet considered. Maybe consideration should be given to keeping this house as a rental property to begin to build a more diverse investment portfolio. During the consultation, we may discover that this isn't a happy move due to difficult life events, or that this is a home they loved very deeply and are truly sad to leave it. Or maybe there's a new grandbaby waiting for them in another state. Regardless of the circumstances, sellers have a lot on their plate during a big move. We work to lessen any worries or concerns they might have as the move plan starts to come together. Typical worries might range from wondering where to price their biggest asset, or whether their house will sell at all, how to prepare the home for pictures, and what will buyers think, or worse, say. But beyond that, they worry about something much bigger, being homeless, because most sellers are almost always buyers, and that complicates and doubles their concerns. Do not fear. We've done this a time or two, and we have a full toolkit to make this part easier too. Ultimately, the seller consultation helps us know which tools we need to have at the ready to support and make the move as easy as possible on the entire family. Do you have a real estate question I can answer? Send me a message via email to info@aboutmansfield.com. For the About Mansfield podcast, I'm Beth Steinke with Century 21 Judge Fight.
Shaken or stirred, you know, either way, it's going to be good as Brian Certain serves up a taste of the South in the cocktail of the week. Brian?
This week's cocktail of the week is the Peach Bourbon Sweet Tea. Nothing quite says summertime in the South like a cold glass of sweet tea accented with fresh peaches. And we'll take this classic combination and transform it into a boozy, bourbon-laced cocktail that's perfect for sipping on the porch or by the pool. It's an indulgent mixed drink featuring Elijah Craig small batch bourbon, peach liqueur, Amaro, which is an Italian bitter, fresh lemon juice, and muddled peaches. But as always, don't worry about taking notes. I'll always be posting all of the ingredients and the instructions on bourbongospel.com. The ingredients: you'll need 3 to 4 fresh peach slices. You'll need a half ounce of peach liqueur, a half ounce of Amaro, a half ounce of fresh, always fresh lemon juice, and a half ounce of brown sugar syrup. To make the brown sugar syrup, you're going to put in equal parts of brown sugar and hot water and stir until dissolved. Then you're going to need 2 ounces of Elijah Craig small batch bourbon and 5 ounces of a freshly brewed sweet tea. And then finally, a peach wedge and mint sprigs for garnish. So for instructions, in a cocktail shaker, gently muddle the fresh peach slices to release the juices and the oils. Be careful not to over muddle. Then add the peach liqueur, the Amaro, the lemon juice, the brown sugar syrup. Shake briefly to combine. Now add your bourbon, sweet tea, and a handful of ice cubes. Shake vigorously for 10 to 30 seconds until well chilled. Double strained into a new filled ice highball or Collins glass, and then garnish with a mint sprig and a fresh peach wedge. The result is a beautifully balanced peach-kissed bourbon cocktail with tons of layers of flavor. The sweet tea acts as the base, along with the bright peach and lemon juices. The brown sugar syrup adds a touch of richness without becoming overly sweet. The Amaro's herbal hints add a slight bitterness, and they complement the peach liqueur's fruity profile beautifully. And finally, the Elijah Craig bourbon provides the smooth, oaky backbone that ties everything together. The bourbon marries itself seamlessly with the peach, the lemon, and the tea for a very cohesive flavor journey with each and every sip. For an extra peach infusion, consider muddling a few basil leaves along with the peaches. Basil and peach make a perfect summertime partner. And as always, you can garnish with a dehydrated peach slice or a peach wheel for a fun presentation. Taking this out on a big shady porch or by a beautiful pool or pairing it with barbecue, this peach bourbon sweet tea delivers the quintessential Southern flavors in cocktail form. The only thing left to determine is whether you want to enjoy it frozen or on the rocks. As always, I'm open to hear your take and your input. You can reach me at brian@bourbongospel.com. And until next week, as Mark Twain said, too much of anything is bad, but too much whiskey is barely enough. Reporting for the About Mansfield podcast, I'm Brian Certain.
We're back in 60 seconds talking scouting with Joe Jenkins. We'll be right back. Hey, it's Steve Casillo, and we all remember the storm that blew through our town back in June that pelted this community with baseball-sized hail. It did a ton of damage around Mansfield, including my own roof. Regular listeners to About Mansfield have heard Paul Duncan's commercials for Trinity Roofing and Construction, and after the storm, I reached out to him, and boy, am I glad that I did. From the first call to Paul to working with the crew leader, the scheduling department, and the entire construction team, and how it all played out with my insurance company, working with Trinity Roofing and Construction was a breeze. It's easy to see why they're a platinum preferred contractor with Owens Corning with an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. So if you're thinking on replacing your roof, look no further than Trinity Roofing and Construction. They're a Mansfield-based company, and you can find them on the web at trinityroofingconstruction.com. Again, that's trinityroofingconstruction.com.
Hi, I'm Katie Hayes, pastor of Galileo Church, and you're listening to About Mansfield.
Welcome back to another segment of About Mansfield. I'm Steve Casillo as we make the transition from news to talk. And in the studio today, you may have seen on social media some posts that it is time around town to start recruiting some Cub Scouts, and thought we would have our old friend. You've heard him on the show before, and he also sponsors our Trivia Question of the Week. Joe Jenkins, welcome back to About Mansfield.
No, thanks for having me, Steve.
You've been affiliated for a long, long time with Cub Scouts, with Boy Scouts. What's your current role with Boy Scouts?
Well, I've been a registered member of the Scouts for 39, 40 years, something like that, since I was 6 or 7 years old. Currently, I have a son that is a Boy Scout. Mm-hmm. He is actually about to earn his Eagle Scout, so he's worked real hard there. But I currently have a role with one of the packs here in Mansfield. Packs are for what Cub Scouts belong to. Okay. I just finished my tenure as the Cub Master, which is kind of the guy in charge of the day-to-day operations.
He's like the head coach?
Kind of the head coach. Okay. So I was the Cub Master for the last 5 years for PAC 1993 that meets out of the First United Methodist here in Mansfield. Mm-hmm. I just recently have stepped down from that role. My daughter finished her time in Cub Scouts, so it was time for me to move on. And I've stayed involved there as the committee chair, kind of running the business side of the pack to help transition to our new Cub Master. So I'm excited about new role and not being a little less busy with it. Then my son is like I said, my son is in the troop, which is for 6th grade through 18-year-olds. And I am currently a committee member and an assistant scoutmaster there.
You talked about he's he's going for his Eagle Scout. Describe that process. Okay. Because I told you just minutes ago off the air, I was a Boy Scout for about 10 minutes.
Sure.
And as you said, it's not for everybody. And I took a couple of hikes. I hated walking, especially with a backpack. And it's like, okay, this is not for me.
So Eagle Scout. So Eagle Scout, of course, is the one that the big award that everybody's familiar with.
Sure. It's the black belt of Boy Scouts.
Sure. That's a good comparison, I guess. And
Thank you.
So there are 7 ranks in Boy Scouts, 6 ranks. Boy, I guess I'm going to have to go through them. So Scout, Tenderfoot, Second Class, First Class, Star, Life, and Eagle. 7.
I was a Tenderfoot.
Okay, there you go. And everyone starts off as a Scout. You earn your ranks. There's different things you have to do. There's a number of camping nights you're supposed to have. Mm-hmm. There are merit badges to be earned. There's, I believe, a total of, boy, you're going to make a liar out of me, Steve, but there's 16 Eagle required merit badges that everyone who earns their Eagle Scout earns. I mean, there's 140 something merit badges. I think maybe I'm off there. It changes. And you have to earn a certain number of merit badges. I believe it's 21 or 22 total merit badges, including your Eagle required to do that. And then the last step is you actually do a service project, a pretty large scale service project. So we're gearing up on September 30th to do my son's Eagle project.
Which is?
And not that there's anything wrong with this, but there's a lot of them go out and they'll build, hey, we're going to build some benches, or we're going to, and those are great projects.
Yeah, community garden,
or we're going to repaint a building or do something. And those things are needed, and those are great projects. Matter of fact, we had some great projects in the past couple of years where during COVID, our charter organization at the time, First Methodist Church in Mansfield, needed outdoor seating because they were going to have some services, but they were going to hold them outside during COVID once they could kind of meet again. And so we had a great project where we actually built benches and picnic tables and things like that. It was needed and served a purpose. So like I said, not to take anything away from those, but my son didn't want to do something he didn't want to build anything.
Yeah.
So he actually, my son is a big fan of Mayor Michael Evans, as everyone should be, as far as I'm concerned. But
who isn't?
He's a great guy. But boy, my son really geeks out when he has the opportunity to talk to the mayor. And he made an appointment, met with the mayor, and they came up with the idea to actually do some work in our 2 cemeteries here in town, the Mansfield Cemetery and the Mansfield Community Cemetery. And what they're going to do is they are actually going to create a database, because right now there's not one. They're going to create a database of all the veterans in those 2 cemeteries, which will literally entail walking the cemeteries and reading the headstones, writing down where the location is and writing down that information, then creating a database that can be used by either the Veterans Association or other groups when they put out flags at the cemetery during Veterans Day, Memorial Day, 4th of July. And then uploading, he worked with the city. The city will then upload it to the city's website, the Historical Society's website, the cemetery's website, maybe findagrave.com, along with photographs where people can locate those graves. And then as more people are buried in those cemeteries, they can then turn around and add that to the database.
That is awesome.
Yeah, it's something a little different, and it's not them necessarily swinging a hammer, which the Boy Scouts, not they want to move away from, but they're trying to encourage them to think out the box a little bit. So that's kind of what he's doing.
What are some of the merit badges that your son has achieved that are required to become an
Eagle Scout?
Eagle Scout.
So first, let's just I'll run through as many of them as I can.
Sure.
There's the 4 citizenship merit badges. There's Citizenship in Society, which is a brand new merit badge. Citizenship in Society, Citizenship in Community, Nation, the world. So those are 4 big ones. Personal management, which is kind of a personal finance. They open up a checking account. They learn to balance a checkbook. They work toward earning money. They work toward, they learn about different things. Personal fitness, that's important for scouts. Then first aid, cooking, camping, and I'm missing some, but like I said, those are the big ones.
Knot tying.
So there is some knot tying involved in almost every rank of scouts. There's some knot tying, but there are specific merit badges. There's a pioneering merit badge that actually one of our troop 1993 is about to start working on as a troop, where they'll actually build a rope bridge, tie knots, lashings, things like that. A rope bridge, they'll build some sort of tower that can actually be climbed on. So that's the pioneering merit badge.
Is I know that the Boy Scouts does, I'm not sure which troop it is, does the flags around Mansfield for the holidays.
It's actually all 3 troops.
Oh, all 3 troops are, okay. Because I was told that this is a major fundraiser for.
It is a major fundraiser for the Scouts. So the Lunch Rotary Club, the Afternoon Rotary Club in Mansfield has a flag program, and it started off in 1 or 2 neighborhoods kind of surrounding the country club area, and it has since grown out from there. Troop 1993 started that. They were the only ones doing it at first, along with the PAC taking one of the routes, PAC 1993. And it has grown so much that Troop 215 and Troop 1788 have both had to come in, and they have routes as well.
And pick up some of the.
And it is a great fundraiser. The Rotary is very generous. 100% of the proceeds go straight back to the Boy Scouts.
Wow. Rotary doesn't get a dime.
That's my understanding.
Okay.
But I think so. And it's been a great, it's allowed us to, we don't have those cookies like the Girl Scouts have.
Yeah.
So,
those Thin Mints.
I'll tell you what, and if we had those cookies, things would be different. But the Boy Scouts sell popcorn. A lot of units sell popcorn. Our unit, Troop 1993, hasn't traditionally participated in the popcorn sales, but it has allowed us to not have to fundraise quite as much and to keep the cost of scouting as relatively low as possible. It costs roughly, with fees and insurance and all that stuff. The cost for the Boy Scouts is about $100 a scout a year. The cost for the Cub Scouts, at least, and I can really only speak to Troops 1993 and PAC 1993. I'm sure it's similar in the other PACs and troops in Mansfield. It's about $175 for Cub Scouts because there's more provided on that level.
Right.
But it pays for awards. It pays for camping. It pays for scholarships. If we've got a kid that family just can't swing away for them to make it to summer camp this year, it's allowed us to send kids to summer camp for free.
If I recall from my days, and I think I was about 15, 16, when, again, that little 10-minute period, there are smaller campouts, maybe called camporees.
Well, there are camporee is something that's put on kind of by a larger group.
Okay.
So we go camping at least once a month, and I think most units do that. We camp somewhere local about once a month.
Where do you go? I can't even think of, that's not from Joe Pool Lake.
Sure. We actually don't go to Joe Pool Lake. The problem with Joe Pool Lake or Lloyd Park or wherever there's camping, any of those state parks, is you never know who's camping beside you.
Yeah.
And how big of a party they're going to have. So we traditionally avoid those. We will sometimes camp in state parks further out. There's actually some local Boy Scout owned scout ranches within an hour and a half.
Okay.
There's one in Palo Pinto called Worth Ranch. There's one in Bridgeport called Sid Richardson. There's one in Denton, a very small one called Hills and Hollows, that we'll go to. And then a neighboring council, we're in the Longhorn Council. Circle 10 Council is Dallas County. They have camps also that are about the same distance. And they've got one actually that's very close. It's great for Cub Scouts, called Camp Wisdom, and it's right off Camp Wisdom Road in I-20. So you can hear the highway, but you can't see it. And it's other than the sound of the highway at night, which actually kind of lulls you to sleep. It's a great camp out there. So we'll go there. Summer camp the past 2 summers, which will be a week-long camping experience. We'll take a group of boys up there. And I say boys, of course, there are troops that are boy and girl, or there are girls troops within the Boy Scouts of America as well.
Which now allows them to earn their Eagle Scout.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
We've kind of gotten out of the Texas heat the past couple summers.
Oh, nice.
Last summer, so summer 22, we went to Colorado, and we were, we could see Pikes Peak from the campsite. So we got pretty cool in the evenings, and it was very pleasant during the day. And then this past summer, we went up just outside of Santa Fe and in New Mexico. We went to Camp Gorham, which was another nice camp up in the mountains that it was just like I said, we have some great camps in Texas, but unfortunately when it's 110, it's
and again, adding to the expense, sure, which is why the flag program, I mentioned camporee. So camporees bring in several packs from around.
Yeah, it would be different. It would be a lot of different troops or packs coming in together.
And the difference between a camporee and a jamboree.
So every 4 years, we have the National Boy Scout Jamboree.
Jamboree.
Yes.
Okay, so this is like the Olympics of...
Absolutely. And this actually just ended.
You see how I compare this? We've got the black belt. We've got now the Olympics and the head coach.
Sure. It's all sports metaphors here. So we had the National Boy Scout Jamboree, which just happened in West Virginia. There's a specific camp that the Boy Scouts of America own called the Summit in West Virginia, and they built this camp just to host the Jamboree every 4 years, the National Jamboree. The numbers were down a little bit this year, but in the past it's been 100,000 scouts from all over the country and actually all over the world. Units from all over the world will come, and they will attend the National Jamboree for 2 weeks. And that just ended at the beginning of August. Wow. And we actually had a couple kids from our troop that attended. I've actually been to 5 of those National Jamborees, once as a scout and then 4 times on staff with my father.
Shout out to Chris.
Yeah. And who
listens, by the way.
He does listen, and he is a big supporter and proponent of scouting and was a scout himself. Neither he nor I were an Eagle Scout, though. I think I can't speak for him, but I know that's one of my big regrets. There's a rule on Eagle Scouts, and it's not hard and fast, but it's largely true. You either get it before you get to high school. You work really, really hard and get it before you get to high school, which is what my son is doing. He's an 8th grader. Or you get it about a week and a half before you turn 18, because you run it once you hit 18.
You age
done.
out.
You age out.
That was my next question.
Once you hit 18, you can't get it.
So it's not like a GED where you can get it at any time in your life.
Absolutely.
Okay, 18.
So once you get to high school, there's 2 big distractions. They talk about the fumes. They talk about perfume, and they talk about fumes from gasoline.
Yeah.
So you get a car, and you all of a sudden girls are around, and it can distract those kids. So there are those kids that'll earn it still while they're in high school, sometime in the middle, but the vast majority of them are going to earn it before they get to high school or moments before they turn 18.
Or the fumes.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about why. Let's go all the way back to Cub Scouts, because we are in recruiting season. Why should, and I think your Facebook posts were saying kindergarten to
5th grade.
To 5th grade. Why should my elementary school kid enroll in the Cub Scouts?
Well, so we've got a lot of reasons. Both my kids went through the program, so I feel like I can speak on the benefits of it. So one, scouting in general, but Cub Scouts starts the process of, it's a character building program. I'm big on building character. I think, our kids are spending a lot more time isolated. They're spending a lot more time in front of screens. My kids are not an exception to that. I mean, like I said, they all spend, every kid, heck, every adult, we all spend too much time in front of our screens. Scouting, like I said, it builds character, but it also allows those kids to get out, interact with other kids that they may or may not know coming in. We have seen kids that can barely speak when they join Cub Scouts as far as in front of other people, or the shyness is taken over. And within the end of that first year, they are up in front of groups of 100 people leading skits, leading songs. It's a huge transformation. It's like I said, character building has always been my big proponent of it, but it's also a confidence building. They learn to be leaders. They learn life skills. By the time they leave Cub Scouts, you can join in kindergarten, and by the time we kick you out, you age out of Cub Scouts in 5th grade.
Yeah.
They know how to pitch a tent. They know how to cook a meal. They know how to read a map. They know how to, which, like I said, may never come into play for some people, but those are all confidence building things that they can do.
Basic survival skills.
Sure. And like I said, we're not a survival program by any means.
Oh, yeah.
But, you watch that kid make his first meal on a camp stove, or confidently be able to put a tent up.
Yeah.
It's just something that, builds something in that kid that lets them know that there's things that they can do. It's a confidence boost.
In the couple of minutes that we have left, if someone was interested in enrolling their child as into whether it's the Cub Scouts or the Boy Scouts, depending on what level they are.
Yep.
How do they go about doing that?
So we have 2 great Cub Scout packs in Mansfield. Mm-hmm. We have pack 1993, which I'm involved with, and then we have pack 788. And then we have 3 great troops in Mansfield: Troop 215, Troop 1703, and Troop 1993, which is my troop. Some troops are better fit than others, but it's very simple. You go to beascout.org.
beascout.org.
And you put in your zip code, and it'll give you the information for all those troops. You can reach out to the leaders. They'll reach back out and let you know when you can come check it out. Whenever I have somebody, those emails come to me on the Cub Scout side for Pack 1993, and I always try and get on the phone with somebody because I want to answer all their questions. People either, if they haven't participated in Scouts before, they only know what they've seen in the movies or maybe what they've heard. So I try and answer all those questions. We've had recruitment nights, so we've been able to answer those questions in person. So we've had one last Tuesday, and we had one on Thursday, but I think this will probably air after that. But like I said, go to beascout.org, type in 76063. We kind of encompass all of the Mansfield ISD is where we recruit our scouts from. But we do have scouts from Arlington ISD. We have scouts from Kennedale ISD. We have private school kids, and we represent almost every elementary school in MISD as well.
Beascout.org.
Beascout.org.
Good luck and congratulations to your son.
We hadn't done it yet, but we're getting there.
Now, this is totally unscripted. To conclude this interview.
Sure.
And we're going to ping pong this back and forth just so you don't.
Okay.
The 12 words that describe a Boy Scout, and I will start.
Okay.
Trustworthy.
Loyal.
Helpful.
Friendly.
Courteous.
Kind.
Obedient.
Cheerful.
Thrifty.
Brave.
Clean.
Reverent.
There you have it.
Did you do that without? Do you have that written down?
No, I don't. I put trustworthy.
That's pretty good for only making tenderfoot, and you still remember that all these years later. So
trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, obedient, cheerful, and that for some reason
it sticks with you.
And I was a Boy Scout for maybe 6 months. Oh, all right, not 10 minutes,
but you learned that.
Oh yeah, that's one of the first things that you learn, and they engrave that into your mind, and still 50 years later, it's still that and the 7 words you can't say on radio and TV.
We're not going to say those.
Yes, I can also do those.
So the Scouts and then George Carlin are what's really stuck with you all those years.
Yes.
Well, we talk about those 12 words just real quickly. I don't know that there's many organizations anywhere that can sum it up in 12 words, especially, I mean, there's some pretty great words in there. And if a scout walks away with half of those words being part of their character, they're going to be doing pretty good in life, I think. So
beascout.org.
Check us out.
Joe, thanks for being on About Mansfield.
My pleasure, Steve. Thanks so much for having me.
Coming up next week, we will talk with another Mansfield guest right here in the studio. You'll just have to tune in to find out who it is. In the meantime, this is the place where you will hear the latest Mansfield news, sports, and conversation. Until then, don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, share, love, or support this podcast if you haven't already, so you never miss an episode. It is free and it's easy. Head on over to our website, aboutmansfield.com. Enter your email address right there on the homepage, and we will never send you any spam. We promise.
About Mansfield is recorded at Podcast Mansfield Recording Studio. Hosts, Steve Casillo and Colleen Daniel. Moment with the Mayor feature, Michael Evans. Methodist Mansfield News to Know, Angel Biasatti. Mansfield Real Estate Market Update, Beth Steinke. Cultural Arts Calendar, Tim Roberts. Cocktail of the Week, Brian Certain. Post-production editing, mixing and mastering, Steve Casillo.
This podcast is copyrighted by Podcast Mansfield Recording Studio for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this podcast without written consent is prohibited. We thank you all for listening on behalf of the entire news team. I'm Steve Casillo, and this is About Mansfield.